Cooking 3 meals a day from scratch, saving money on food, being a steward of your kitchen, being a steward of your home, making meals that your family actually enjoys and that you enjoy cooking as well, using the resources that are local to you and shopping locally, but not spending too much money, not wasting any food, yet being able to prepare meals timely and efficiently. How do you do all of those things, and is it even possible? So that is what we're going to be talking about today. The first thing I'm going to do is pick some flowers. It's almost the first frost here at the homestead, and I'm trying to make sure that we enjoy these flowers we had in our garden as much as possible before we don't have them for the winter. They are going to look beautiful on the counter next to our farm fresh pumpkins, one of which we're going to be chopping up into chunks for lunch today. Using the food that's in season is one of the best ways to enjoy your resources and be a good steward of your kitchen. When you are using the food that's in season, you're going to be paying less money for it since it's more available. The best part of doing that is that the food will generally be cheaper because it is more available at the grocery store or from your local farmers. It'll also be more nutrient dense and healthier for you because it's going to be the most fresh. Whereas if you're buying like strawberries or fresh fruit in the wintertime, they're probably not going to be very fresh. They will have been sitting for a while or quite possibly even preserved because they will have had to travel to wherever you are, unless of course you're in a warm location. So today I'm making a beef stir fry with chopped vegetables. I'm going to saute onion, garlic, carrots, and pumpkin wedges that I just sliced up in the cast iron with some bacon fat. Bacon fat is another ingredient you can always have on hand if you enjoy making bacon. You just save the fat, and that is going to replace butter or oil in your skillet when you're cooking up vegetables or meat and adds really good flavor. For the rice on the side, I'm going to be using homemade bone broth. I do have most of these recipes I'm going to be showing in this video today on the blog, theduvallhomestead.com, so I'll link them below so you can go check them out and print them out if you are interested in making them as well. Taking a quick break from today's cooking video to thank the sponsor, Quince Organic Bedding. A good night's sleep is so important for me as I'm cooking 3 meals a day from scratch for my family. I love getting into bed and having it be very fluffy, warm, and cozy. That is why I chose Quince Organic Bedding. As the months get colder and we're looking to stay even cozier, instead of turning the heat up all night, we like to save a little money on the heater by turning it down. One thing that really helps to do this is to have a premium down comforter on our beds. With a growing family, we have growing needs in each of our bedrooms, going from a crib to a toddler bed to a twin-sized bed. I love watching the kids get bigger and needing new bedding and bed sets, but it does rank up on the bank account because you have to keep buying new sizes of sheets. And then of course you need the mattress protector, the bed sheets, the duvet. Going into winter, I want to make sure my kids are nice and warm. For our daughter, we got the Quince Premium Down Comforter. I love a really fluffy comforter that you lay in bed and you put it on top of you and you feel like you are just in a fluffy, comfortable bed of pillows all around you. That is the feeling you get from the Quince Down Comforter. With 3 types from lightweight to all season to ultra, there is a type of comforter that will fit your needs. We like to keep our house cool at night in the mid to low 60s, so having a down comforter is really important for each bed. I sleep hot and my husband sleeps cold, so we like to have a comforter for the colder nights, but also something that's not going to make us super warm. The all-season comforter from Quince does just that. It is made in the USA and features classic white down fill that's responsibly sourced. The loops on every corner help keep it in place, and the baffle box construction keeps it fluffy and evenly distributed. There are different pockets of the fluff throughout the down comforter so that it doesn't get all fluffed up in one spot. This works really well every day when I go in to make the bed. I don't have to spend all this time shaking the down comforter. It's evenly distributed and fluffy throughout. This premium down comforter was $159 compared to Brooklinen at $359 and Parachute at $439. So I love that it is the most affordable option and still high quality. I love that I can also get my organic cotton bed sheets from Quince, so it is a seamless shopping experience to add all of it in my cart at one time. If you're looking to upgrade your bed, visit my link below to shop Quince Organic Bedding to get a high quality and affordable bed set that will keep your family warm during the colder months. For breakfast this morning, I'm making sourdough French toast with some old sourdough bread. I'm a bread maker if you are brand new to this channel, so I make sourdough bread. We do not buy any bread or bread products from the grocery store. I make sourdough bread and bagels, pizza crust, pie crust. Basically any bread product I use my sourdough starter for, and that's because sourdough is a little healthier, it's long fermented, so it strips away some of the phytic acid in the grain, making it easier to digest. I have a couple loaves of bread that are always on rotation at our house because that allows me to plan and meal prep a little bit. When I can see how much bread I have, whether it's a boule or a sandwich loaf, I can eyeball it and see what I can use that bread for. So I can use half that loaf for sandwiches, or I can use half of it for French toast. So I designate the bread when I make it. I don't just make the bread and have it sit on the counter, to eat whenever we want. Of course, they can grab a slice if they want it, but they don't usually just free grab it like that because we eat it so often that they are getting it every single day, but it's in recipes that I already designated the bread for, if that makes sense. Now, I like to be a good steward of my money as well as my kitchen, so I try to have mindful purchasing habits. When I think about a meal, I try to make the unit cost of the meal go down as much as I can by understanding what is costing the most money, which part of the meal is expensive or not expensive. Usually the meat is the most expensive part, but other things can really rack up the price, like sauces or other flavor enhancers. I encourage you as much as possible to make your own. This sauce is a pumpkin carrot pasta sauce, and it is so delicious and uses minimal amounts of ingredients from the fridge. This recipe will be linked below, but it's basically onion, garlic, pumpkin, carrots, bone broth, cheese, cream, and spices like cinnamon. Now, every time I make a specifically meat, I may not save a couple bites of a green bean or something like that, but I will save a couple bites left over of chicken. Anytime there are bites of chicken left on someone's plate, I put them in a freezer bag and store them in the freezer. It may not seem like a lot in the moment, but after a few times of doing that, you have enough chicken to create a meal. The best way to use up freezer pre-cooked meat is in a soup or in a taco or on pizza, or in this case, I'm going to be covering it with sauce. So this is my freezer pre-cooked chicken. I'm putting it over pasta with my creamy pumpkin carrot pasta sauce for a delicious and hearty meal. Being a good steward of your family and home also means being a good steward of your time and prioritizing important things over things that are not going to help your family and are maybe a waste of time. There are some meals that require a lot of spices, and of course, no offense to anyone who does like to cook highly spiced and complex meals like curries and things like that, but I made a curry a while ago with my husband and we just wanted to do something really fun, and oh my goodness, it was so much work and used up so many spices that I didn't already own. So I like to try to stick to the ingredients that are already in my cupboard instead of looking up a recipe and then go buying all these specific ingredients for that recipe. And if there is a recipe that looks good to me but does have a lot of ingredients I don't own, instead of going out and buying them, I look up what a replacement or substitution would be for those ingredients. So for example, if a recipe calls for green onions and I don't have green onions, I will look up what's a good green onion to substitute. You can even do this with sugar or flour, and you'd be surprised how many substitutes there are. And doing this will allow you to maintain a good stock of ingredients in your kitchen and prioritize what you already have. Going to the store, buying specific ingredients to make a fancy meal, and then using those ingredients only one time just to make a fun or different meal is not a good use of your time or your money. And so prioritizing the types of recipes that are going to serve your family but also serve your budget and your time are the ones that, at least personally, I like to shoot for. Now, another tip I like to think about when I think about serving my family and being a steward of my kitchen is to be trustworthy. And what I mean by that is I want my family to rely on food being available, specifically bread. I know we really like to eat bread in our family, and I've started making 2 loaves per week that we enjoy. The first one's gonna be a sourdough rustic boule with regular all-purpose flour. Actually, I think in this case, I probably made it a 25% einkorn loaf because we really enjoy einkorn flour in our family. It is higher in protein and lower in gluten and has a really nice kind of nutty taste to it. And then the second loaf of bread is gonna be a sourdough rye sandwich bread, and I'm gonna get these started now. Even if I don't have a plan for the food for the next day or the next few days, in my free time, I do like to meal prep. This allows me to be a little more trustworthy as the person who's cooking the meals for the family, because if time gets tight or we like to spend a little extra time playing outside, I know I can come in and whip up a meal quickly without having to spend 30 minutes or something chopping up all the ingredients while everyone is hungry and waiting and they really want food right now. So right now, my husband and I have a movie or maybe the news on that we're watching, and meanwhile, I'm gonna chop up a pumpkin. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. It might just end up being pumpkin puree.
Okay, whew. That was tough.
But I'm also gonna cook some sausages on the cast iron skillet, and I have a cabbage that really needs to be cooked. And I don't know what I'm gonna be doing with this yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and get it chopped so that the next day I'm ready to make something yummy. I always feel really good when the house is stocked with bread, chopped vegetables, and a whole bunch of food so my family can trust that food is gonna be ready at a reasonable time. I also want to make a note that your attitude and beliefs about cooking for your family will dictate the reality of what it looks like to be the chef of your family. If you're stressed out and don't enjoy preparing the meals, that's what it's going to look like to other people as well. And it doesn't have to be complicated. This morning I'm going to be making some scrambled eggs with some cheese and a Dutch baby because you saw me preparing the bread doughs the night before, which means they're not baked yet. So this is one of those mornings that I don't have any bread ready for toast. So my go-to when that happens is a Dutch baby. This is another recipe that is on the blog, theduvallhomestead.com, and I'll link it below. What you want to avoid is that feeling of blankness, like you have no idea what you're going to prepare for a meal and you have no ideas either. That happens to me too. It happens to everybody. A good way to start with that is, of course, looking something up, getting some inspiration. I love watching YouTube videos of people cooking. That always helps me get some new ideas, and that helps you have a healthy mindset around cooking and being a good steward of your family. In the kitchen, it's also so important to keep it clean, wiping down your surfaces, countertops, the stove, keeping the dishes washed. Just like everything else, whether it's laundry or the floors, picking up toys, vacuuming, all of that can build up really fast if you aren't on top of it. And no matter how much you might want to just let things sit and hope that they clean themselves up, it is so much better to just spend 5 or 10 or however long it takes minutes to get it clean in the moment. This will allow you to go into your kitchen with a fresh headspace and makes cooking a lot more fun when you don't feel cluttered. Having dirty dishes or even clean dishes that just aren't put away, you know how there's always just things on the counter that need to be put in their correct spot? That can all be so distracting and can make cooking feel a lot more overwhelming than it needs to be. When things are put away and clean, it's a lot easier to focus on the ingredients of the meal.
Things ready? And then maybe like a small slit down here. Like a little dot. And 2 little circles right here.
Okay. guys so hungry? Here is one of my favorite ways to use my sourdough rye sandwich bread, which is for toast. So I'm gonna fry up some fried eggs for breakfast this morning, put some honey butter on the toast, and enjoy that with the kids before heading out for the day. Just a second. Now I'm gonna cut up those sausages that I cooked the night before for lunch and go ahead and use the cabbage too. Using the resources that you have available is one of the best ways to be a steward of your kitchen, but also of the environment. We love to shop from local farmers if possible and enjoy the food that is in season. We have so many apples. I'm making a maple bacon sautéed cabbage side dish here that turned out absolutely incredible. I just put bacon, apple, cabbage. I sautéed that in some leftover bacon fat, and it was a great side dish to the sausages and the rice. If you remember last week, I shared a Thanksgiving roundup of from scratch Thanksgiving recipes, and we made bone broth from the turkey bones, and it was so gelatinous, thick, and delicious. So I'm gonna be using that broth today for the bottom of my roasted chicken for dinner tonight. Another skill to have as a steward of your kitchen is to think ahead. Knowing what you're gonna prepare the next night or the next day can allow you to prep the ingredients beforehand. So I know that I'm gonna be preparing a roasted chicken tonight, so I'm gonna go ahead and chop up some carrots and onions while I already have the cutting board out and the knife out. It's really not a lot of extra work for me to add a few onions and carrots to the cutting board. That way I don't have to clean it twice. To the bottom of my pan, I'm gonna add those onions and carrots that I chopped up earlier, as well as garlic and some sweet potato, and my very delicious Thanksgiving turkey bone broth. I'm gonna rinse the chicken and stuff it with some herbs, half a lemon, and drizzle it with olive oil, and I'll season the whole thing with our Kinder's organic seasoning. It's one of our favorite seasonings. Of course, you can make your own here, but like I said earlier, we don't buy a lot of pre-made sauces or any dressings or seasonings because that's just one way that we can save a little bit of money and make it from scratch. However, the one that we do buy is Kinder's organic. It's called the blend seasoning, and we buy it because it goes well on everything and everyone in our family likes it. So it is a way that I can save 3 minutes or so. Instead of making my own seasoning, I can reach for that one. It's high quality and delicious. So that is one that I do choose to buy and have on hand. Now I'm cutting up my boule into large chunks to put on the bottom of my chicken roasting dish. This is one of my favorite ways to enjoy bread, is soaked in those yummy chicken juices. Okay, we're having people over tonight, so it's time to prepare a really fun meal. When I think of fall time with the crunchy, beautiful leaves at my feet and the farmers tending to their pumpkin patches, I think about preparing dinner in a pumpkin. I'm gonna be taking 4 pumpkins today and putting the dinner inside, and I hope that my guests will enjoy this somewhat fancy and delicious meal. To start, I'm just gonna cut the tops off the pumpkins, take out the seeds and the guts, and then I'm gonna take some leftover bacon fat and spread it all over the insides and the sides of the pumpkin, as well as salt, and roast it. Meanwhile, I'm going to saute some ground beef and a potpourri of leftover vegetables. I would like to be a good steward of my fridge at this moment because it's important to keep that organized as well. When you are keeping leftovers like we do, it can be a little overwhelming if you have 10 bags of leftovers in the fridge, each with 1 to 2 small amounts of things like 1 carrot, 2 pieces of onion, things like that. And so once a week, it's good to do a inventory clean out where you're really looking at your fridge or your cupboard and saying, okay, what's almost out? You know, is this ketchup bottle almost out? Can I add this small amount of ketchup to a different bottle? That way I can throw out the old bottle. Or if there's 2 bags of chips that are open, can we combine them? That way you're not accumulating clutter and you're more aware of what you have and what you need to buy, as opposed to seeing that, oh, this amount is almost gone, I probably need to buy more. Well, it wasn't almost gone if you were to combine it with a few other ones that are also low. So in this meal, I'm gonna be adding all of my low inventory items from my fridge to the meat for a delicious dinner. So to the meat, I'm adding onion, garlic, carrots, and leftover frozen celery and corn, and also leftover frozen bacon. Flavored one, just like the regular. Cooking all of that up, and I'm gonna be transferring it to a stovetop pot now. I'm gonna add some bone broth, some seasonings, and I even added some yogurt, and I'll have the full recipe for this on the blog, theduvallhomestead.com, very soon. This turned out great, and I think that my whole family really enjoyed it. Well, thank you for joining me in this video where I talked about being a good steward of your kitchen. I hope this gave you some inspiration to cook meals and also do it efficiently while prioritizing the right things to serve your family. Don't forget to check out Quint's Organic Bedding to ensure that your family has high quality bedding to sleep on this winter without breaking the bank. If you are brand new around here, I'd love if you would hit that subscribe button. Every week I share new videos on farm to table recipes and homemade natural living. Thanks so much for stopping by our Duvall Homestead.
I miss going.